DNA suggests Mesopotamians came from India and Tibet. From the article Ancient Mitogenomes of Phoenicians from Sardinia and Lebanon, a story of settlement, integration, and female mobility from the PLOS ONE Open Access website. Adapted and narrated by D.W. Draffin. Introduction. The ongoing debate on the origin of those who first inhabited ancient Mesopotamia spurred the authors of this study to attempt an isolation and analysis of mitochondrial DNA sequences, which, if available, can deliver information of primary significance. Although they do not allow the details regarding the life of the individual to be reconstructed, DNA analysis provides important insight into his or her ancestry. Fossil sequences are preferably isolated from remains unearthed in permafrost or temperate regions, and only rarely from skeletal material found in a subtropical arid climate, probably due to the widespread belief that access to amplifiable sequences is highly limited in such cases. Thus, only scarce data from the Mesopotamia region are available. However, using ancient DNA methodology, we aimed to confirm the possibility of isolating amplifiable sequences from the skeletons staying under conditions favorable for DNA survival. In the case of one of the studied specimens, we had sufficient skeletal material and were able to analyze both mitochondrial DNA and nuclear DNA sequences. 3 others were analyzed, only to confirm their origin. Studied remains were excavated at 2 archaeological sites in the Middle Euphrates Valley and dated between the Early Bronze Age and the Late Roman period. The obtained data enrich the as-yet modest database of Mesopotamian ancient DNA and suggest a possible genetic link of the region with the Indian subcontinent in the past, leaving no traces in the modern population. Ancient DNA methodology was applied to analyze sequences extracted from freshly unearthed remains, teeth, of 4 individuals deeply deposited in slightly alkaline soil of the Tel Ashara, ancient Terka, and Tel Masaik, ancient Kar Assur-Nasirpal, Syrian archaeological sites, both in the Middle Euphrates Valley. Dated to the period between 2500 BCE and 500 CE, the studied individuals carried mitochondrial DNA haplotypes corresponding to the M4B1, M49, and/or M61 haplogroups, which are believed to have arisen in the area of the Indian subcontinent during the Upper Paleolithic and are absent in people living today in Syria. However, they are present in people inhabiting today's Tibet, Himalayas, India, and Pakistan. We anticipate that the analyzed remains from Mesopotamia belonged to people with genetic affinity to the Indian subcontinent, since the distribution of identified ancient haplotypes indicates solid links with populations from the region of South Asia, Tibet, Trans-Himalaya. They may have been descendants of migrants from much earlier times, spreading the clades of the macro-haplogroup M throughout Eurasia and founding regional Mesopotamian groups like that of Terka, or just merchants moving along trade routes passing near or through the region. The studied skeletal material is now a part of a collection deposited in the Anthropological Museum located at the excavation base in Tel Ashara. The 4 specimens. Specimen MK11G107, excavated at the Tel Masaik site during the 2006 excavation season, male, aged about 30. Pathological changes within the skull and postcranial bones were found, but not recognized as specific markers resulting from inflammation, local viral or bacterial infections, or generalized chronic lesions. The suggested cause of the changes was a blood disease, such as thalassemia, a type of anemia. Details of the grave deposits located under the floor of a Roman house, such as the specific jar used and the east-west orientation of the grave, indicated the turn of the late Roman and Islamic periods at the time of burial, 500 to 700 CE. Specimen MK13G117, excavated at the Tel Mosaic site during the 2008 season, female, age 25 to 26, together with some ceramic sherds and bronze jewelry originating from the late Roman period, 200 to 300 CE. A neurocranium with a fragment of postcranial skeleton was found among the preserved bones. Specimen TQ28F112, excavated at the Terka site during the 2008 season, male, age 40 to 44. The grave was dated to the early Bronze Age, 2650 to 2450 BCE, on the basis of chronology of the tomb, stratigraphy of the site, and the equipment found. Specimen TQ28F256, a skeleton excavated at the Terka site during the 2008 season, male, age 25 to 29. Dating of the tomb indicated a burial time in the Middle Bronze Age, 2200 to 1900 BCE. Tomb chronology was based on the type of artifacts found, together with the skeleton and stratigraphy of the site, which were comparable to others found in Terka. The study attempted to confirm the origin of individual MK11G107, living 1300 to 1500 years ago, whose remains were found in Tel Mosaic. His possible anemia might suggest him having been a newcomer, possibly from the neighboring Mediterranean region. Changes found within the first specimen indicated the presence of the M4B1 haplogroup. The haplogroup has likely arisen in the region of the Tibetan Plateau, thus suggesting that the origin of the individual could have been Asian rather than European. Analysis revealed that the first, second, and third individuals belonged to clades that probably arose between 25 and 58,000 years ago on the Indian subcontinent, where they still occur. We looked more closely at the first specimen with more advanced molecular analysis. It revealed several haplotypes almost identical with his, present in people living today in Tibet, the Himalayas, Ladakh, and Pakistan. These populations have a reverse mutation at the hotspot in common with the fossil haplotype. Only complete sequencing will help to narrow down the geography and indicate precise origin of the studied individuals. However, at this step of the analysis, a continuity between Trans-Himalaya and Mesopotamia regions in antiquity is likely. Probably significant depopulation, resulting from the Mongolian invasions of the late 13th century CE, followed by repopulation by Bedouin tribes in the 17th century and farmers from southern Anatolia and western Syria during the 19th and 20th century, are among the possible factors which may have shifted the gene pool profile of the region. The fact that the studied individuals comprised both males and a female, each living in a different period and representing different haplotypes, suggests that the nature of their presence in Mesopotamia was rather long-lasting and not incidental. The close ancestors of the third and fourth individuals could fall within the population founding Terka, the historical site constructed probably in the early Bronze Age, at a time only slightly preceding the dating of the skeletons. All the studied remains could have been also left by descendants of much earlier migration waves spreading from the nearby subcontinent. It cannot be excluded that among them were people involved in the founding of the Mesopotamian civilizations. For instance, it is commonly accepted that the founders of Sumerian civilization came from outside of the region. Their exact origin is, however, still a matter of debate. Our study suggests that migrants of Iranian, Indian, or even Tibetan affinity founded the Sumerian civilization, which can be supported by comparing the Tibeto-Burman and Sumerian languages. The migrants could have entered Mesopotamia earlier than 45 centuries ago, during the lifetime of the oldest studied individual, as the Tibetan plateau was peopled more than 20,000 years ago. However, one should also consider the possibility that studied individuals belonged to the groups of itinerant merchants, moving along a trade route, passing near or through the region, since a recent comparative study of strontium, oxygen, and carbon isotopes content in enamel indicates that people from Indus Valley were present in southern Mesopotamia by 3000 BCE. In conclusion, the migrations that we've discovered were primarily from the East. This does not answer all the questions of who the founders of earliest civilizations were, but it populates our understanding with certain figures from certain places and brings us that much closer to revealing the secrets of the past. My name is D.W. Draffin. I do voiceover, and I'm available for hire.